Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Michigan City Sanitation Board meeting, Wednesday, November the 20th, 4 p.m., conference room. I'd like to call the order of the meeting, roll call. I'd like to make it known that Frank Harris, Mr. Smith, is absent. Mr. Ettinger and Mr. Peller and myself present. I'd like to approve the regular minutes.
I move we approve the regular minutes of October 23rd meeting, the sanitary district.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Will there be any public comment? Okay, opening quotes and bids and proposals.
We have bids were due today. You need to ask if there's any more people that haven't.
Will there be any more bids or quotes? Will there be any more bids? Is there anyone here?
I move then that we close the bidding.
I'll second it.
All righty. Cheney, run.
We're all in favor.
We're all in favor.
All in favor?
Well, the president just needs to declare it closed. You don't have to have it closed.
There you
Awesome.
go. They got all the power.
Thank you.
First set of bids is from HRP Construction in South Bend, Indiana.
Basically, there was a part A and a part B, and then we asked them to give one for each of those, and then we asked them to give a bid for both of them, those combined, A and B combined. So for part one, it's $711,000 even. For part two, which is the mechanical separator, $949,000 even. Total for both is $1,635,000.
And then the second bid packet we have is from Woodruff & Sons in Michigan City, Indiana.
Okay, for Woodruff & Sons, part one, which is the wetland work, $920,237.88. 920,237.88. For the part two, mechanical separator is $988,827.88. 988,827.88. For both, it's $1,909,065.76. 1,909,065.76.
And those are all of the bids that we had.
Okay.
I recommend the board.
I move that we have staff review these bids.
Do we get a second?
Yeah, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed. Do we have any more? That's it.
That's it.
All right. Finance report, Scott Kistler.
Did you guys do public comment?
Yes.
Yes, we did.
Sorry. Okay.
Good.
Must have been sleeping back there, sorry. Okay, I'll begin by reading the cash balances. The operating fund had $1,027,118.74. Sorry. The improvement fund had $842,895.03. Vehicle replacement, $79,995.58. Equipment replacement, $630,380.51 for a total in the Horizon account of $2,580,389.86. Indian Springs SRF deposit had $5,827.69, and the Whippoorwill project had $343.32 for a total in that bank account of $6,171.01. The SRF debt reserve had $495,901.69, and the bond and interest account had $130,114.60 for a total at BNY Mellon of $626,016.29. Stormwater at $372,924.76. Refuse had $809,255.12. Special revenue had $8,503.49. Levy excess $8,522.14. And the rainy day fund at $81,307.78 for a total in that bank account of $1,280,513.29. Carwick remediation account had $1,752,105.27 for a total cash balance of $6,245,195.72. So, just a couple of comments on this real quick. The operating account is doing pretty well, and when we get to the docket later, I have something to say at the end, but there was a lot of payments made on the Carwick remediation project this month, so that Carwick remediation balance is going to be about $1.1 million at the end of November. But at the next meeting, I printed off some reports to show you what we spent, what we've collected, and we can talk about it at the next meeting. And then the next thing I put in your packet was the budget performance report for the operating fund. And as always, just any comments would be greatly appreciated. And then I got just a few handouts real quick. Here you go, Hope. Here you go. Here you go. Thank you, sir. Here you go. Pass one to Michael. Okay, the first thing is, this is the docket I put in the packets for everybody. It was roughly $39,000 less than what the docket is that you're going to sign, and it was in the refuse fund. If you look at the one I sent you, it was like $66,000. We were missing roughly 20 checks when I did it yesterday. Not missing, I mean, yeah. The report I ran didn't include it, so I included it, updated the docket. So this is the one you're going to sign. So, and so that's the first thing. The next thing is, the next item I had was the 2020 budget. The next thing you have there is a salary resolution for next year. And the only change in this salary resolution that you have here is a 1% increase across the board, which is what the city is doing. So all the city budgets had 1% salary increase.
1% increase for the wages. Everything else, as far as all the certification pays and everything like that, all remain the same.
Yeah, I kept everything else the same. So the only thing, and I would just ask for your approval, because this is going to be the basis for our budget for next year.
I move that we approve resolution number 1411-19, which is the salary resolution for the year 2020 of the sanitary district.
Can we get a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed.
Okay. And then the last thing that I just handed out, this is a first pass of next year's expense budget for the operating fund. And this is, I wanted to give it to you now. I'm still reviewing it, but if you go to the third page of this thing,
At this, Scott, I don't think I got one.
Yeah, that's it.
Looking at it.
The expense budget. If you go to the third page, there's a little square at the bottom. That it shows that this year's proposed budget is $4,000 less than last year's budget. I mean, our budget for expenses don't really change much. We did have to reallocate some of the money because we used to budget for more increases to the improvement fund.
Did we?
And we didn't do that this year, really.
Did we save any money with that
Yeah, well, this year,
efficiency?
yeah, the utilities are down. They look good. The things that didn't were the other professional services, but that was because we did a lot of work with consultants and professionals on a lot of these projects we've been looking at. Engineers. And,
So it'll even go down more next year?
Yeah, well, I'm showing, it depends, and we can talk about it at the next meeting, but it depends how much you guys would like to put into the improvement fund, and because our interest expense is dropping, we're going to pay off one lease next year, and we'll have just one lease outstanding, and then we have the other debt related to the energy savings program. But other than that, I mean, this is a first pass. It includes the 1% increase. And all I did was just take 1% over last year because we have added a few new positions. So. But overall, it looks good.
So you're saying right now the budget that you gave them to look at between now and the next board meeting is $4,000 less than our budget we had last year overall?
Right.
And you're going to look at this a little more, and if there's any changes to this budget between now and December 18th, which is our next meeting, before that, you'll email it to them so they have it, or send, as soon as you get any changes done, you get this the way you like it. But this is pretty close to where you're going to go with it right now.
Right. Well, and the other thing is I'd like to, as this is one budget, but budget a cash flow.
Okay.
Because the operating fund is different than the tax levy and stormwater. So really, the capital items, how you present it, the cash flow would make more sense because then you could see how much debt we're paying back, how much capital. So.
Okay, well, this is really good, Scott. And then going back, I think what Gary's question is, if did you talk about this yet, the budget performance?
No, I just said for the review why.
Right.
Well, I was going to say, if you look at the very last page, if this is all the way through October, aren't we at 72% of the budget total through October? Is that what that's saying?
Yes.
I mean, that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
So that's pretty
We're
good.
about 900,000 better than budget, but it depends how you.
When you.
Yeah, it's how you talk about capital.
I'm just
I threw some numbers in there to.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good. We're way better than budget.
Thanks, Mike.
We're doing really good on budget. What you're trying to get.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the point I was trying to make. And, that's always a good sign. And I also noticed that our operating disc. Were you done? I didn't.
Yeah. No. Go ahead.
This going back to this form that you always give us with the balances. Last year on October 18th, or October of 2018, we had in our operating fund $313,000, and now we have $1,027,000.
Wow.
And then September of 19, which was just last month, we had 723. Okay.
Wow. It's a little misleading because November's going to come back because some of the payments on these projects that just completed, they're going to come out in November. You know what I mean? So like the Lafayette Barker project, it was $100,000. It won't be that bad. I think we'll be net sanitary sewer between two streets.
Oh, okay.
John's going to talk about it in a minute. But that's going to come out. And then in December, we have our longevity payment and vacation and 6 sell back.
But the point I'm trying to get at is that we were trending downward, and
Right. Oh, no.
You and I had many conversations, and you kept telling me we'll be okay, and I know we've really tried to do a good job. And the main reason we were trending downward is we had all these big projects in the works. So.
Right, and we weren't able to do some of the investments in the the improvement fund and stuff. So,
But now we're looking like
so maybe next year we can start doing that again.
looks good, really good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very
All right.
good.
Thank you.
refuse department loader was lifting a heavy TV into the refuse truck, and he felt some pain in the lower back, and so he was on restricted work activity while he was undergoing some physical therapy. And so now he's back to work on regular duties, and all employees now are back to work on regular duties. And the good news is, I believe, that we haven't had any recordable injuries since that time through today. So that's certainly an improvement over the last couple of months. And so we're working pretty hard, and quite a bit of work's being done in the refuse department to turn the trend around. They're holding some good safety meetings nowadays to start out shifts and covering some very pertinent topics, things like lifting properly, and other, pinch points, different things like that seem to affect us quite a bit. And another thing, too, is that we've implemented a really robust program. We've revised our vehicle inspections on our refuse trucks on a pre- and post-inspection. And so that's in a trial right now with 3 of our drivers.
Post every day?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's a DOT requirement. We've had that for some time, but what we've done is we've really improved the process on how we do that. And a lot of working more closely with central maintenance on getting things repaired in a timely manner, returned back to us in a timely manner. So there's quite a bit of improvement there. So we're looking to see how that trial goes, and based on how the trial goes, we'll make some minor adjustments and then fully implement it. So then one activity that to talk about, last month on October 28th and 29th, we had our recertification of heavy equipment operators. And so we recertified 9 operators and also certified 2 new operators on backhoe loader, front-end loader, dozer, excavator, and skid steer loader. And it was an excellent training session. It's held over 2 days. One day, it's classroom held here, and then over at Hitchcock we have the practical demonstration. And so we kind of upped our game, if you will, on a practical demonstration. As you see right there in some of the photographs, we have an obstacle course they have to go through with their vehicles and or with their heavy equipment. And we said, just visualize that each one of those safety cones is an automobile or some on a narrow street. And so it was an excellent exercise. As you see right there also that, we're loading dump trucks, doing all those things, evaluating, suggesting areas for improvement. For example, if the obstacle course, if they happen to touch one of the cones, then they would have to go back through again and keep doing that until they no longer touched a cone. So, kind of up the game a little bit, and good demonstration of skills. So we felt pretty good about that. And I think the operators appreciated that too. So yesterday we had snowplow safety training. And so that included 37 district employees. Also, we had 11 guests from City of Gary. This program's put on at no charge to us through Purdue LTAP. And the LTAP program asked us, the coordinator asked us if we would host City of Gary Public Works Department for this training as well. So we had 11 guests for a total of 48 people that attended the training. So it was an outstanding session. High reviews on that, very good reviews. Next month, it's CPR first aid training for the refuse department for those that volunteer to take that training. So we're moving along and making a number of improvements, and feel pretty good about it. Any questions?
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
You're well. Thank you, Mr. McCoy. Project updates. Weaver Consultants and Engineer.
I don't think anybody's here from Weaver Consulting, so I will tell you that the Carwick dump site remediation project is moving along very well. All of the shore socks that we needed to install along the bank of the creek is all in 100% and doing its job. Vegetation has started to grow through, grass and so forth, through some of that. That's what it's designed to do, and keep the erosion down. All the grading work has been done, totally done, and about 60% of the area is covered with the final layer of topsoil. There's about 40, sand. It's mostly sand. If you remember, we wanted it to be sand so that it could breathe and not a clay material. And then, of course, we have the leachate trench drain has been in, as you know, for a long time with the lift station that pumps to our sewer. And then the Woodruff and Sons, the contractor, has been running that pump station on a generator for quite a while now, and NIPSCO is we finally putting in the electrical. They were going to try to come into the north side on Carwick Road and go over the railroad or go under the railroad tracks, but they ran into some extenuating circumstances with the South Shore Railroad about what type of pipe they wanted to put through there and stuff to sleeve that, and they decided that they would come in from the south side of Carwick Road and just trench it in from there, and they started doing the not trenching, excuse me, directional drilling of the electrical wires in, I believe, 2 days ago. So they're making progress on that, and that should get the electricity hooked up soon. So the project is moving along well, pretty much on schedule. Once the rest of the cover gets in, the next step will be to install or plant the vegetation, final trees and shrubbery that we have to do in compliance with our DNR construction and the floodway permit. And that job is, like I said, moving along very well. So hopefully in the next couple of months it'll be finished. We've got some pay requests. One from Woodruff and Sons for pay request number 4 for $258,399, and we've reviewed this with staff, and everything appears to be in order. We've got our verification form attached on the back, and recommend that you guys approve payment of that.
I move that we recommend payment to Woodruff and Sons number 4 for $258,399.
Can we get a second? All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed.
And then we have a payment request number 5 from Woodruff and Sons in the total amount of $344,460.76. Again, staff has reviewed all of this and signed off on our verification form, and recommend that the board accept payment.
Yeah, I move that we pay Woodruff and Sons pay request number 5 in the amount of $344,460.76.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No opposed.
I also wanted, before I read the next two, I want to remind everybody that all this money is coming out of the Carwick remediation fund, not out of our operation fund. The Weaver Consultants has 2 pay requests. One is for $18,845 for construction field monitoring. And again, we've reviewed all this, and we've got some notes. We went back and forth, asked for a couple clarifications, and we received that information and supplemental information to make sure that it met the criteria of the contract. And we have our verification form on the back, and I'd request the board approve that payment to Woodruff or to Weaver Consultants.
I moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then
No opposed.
we also have one other invoice for Weaver Consultants in a total amount of $7,784. That's been reviewed by staff, and everything is in good order, and I recommend that you pay that.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed.
That's all we have for the Carwick project.
All right.
Yeah.
Excuse me, just curious, when will that show up in our budgeted numbers in December or January? These adjustments?
Carwick?
Yeah,
The Carwick all comes out of the Carwick remedial.
correct. But when will it show up on our
It's on the docket.
correct?
It's not coming,
no,
it's
I
not
saw
coming
it.
out of the operating fund.
No, I didn't say the operating fund, just a record of which fund it is coming out of.
Yeah,
Or
it's
not
on- it's
coming
on-
out of the Carwick, but when will that show in
Oh, in the
our
cash.
next month?
In the November cash balance.
Thank you.
Yeah. So the November cash balances are gonna be 1.1 million as opposed to 1.0.
Very good. Thank you.
Because I think it's like 75% of the project's done. So
Good.
I'll do a complete report next week.
Great. Thank you.
Awesome. V3 engineers.
Just a second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I have a question for Steve. Weaver's first invoice had an error in it, and they were going to
Yeah,
give us
it's
credit.
adjusted, I think, on the first.
The credit is reflected as they,
Yeah, it's on the second
yes.
page.
I just want to make sure.
It was like, what was it, 14?
That was like $1,200.
1,600.
Yeah, it's,
Right.
yeah, but it's on the second page.
Okay.
V3 engineers.
Hi, I'm
Cheney Run.
Yes, Cheney Run. I'm Ted Blonick with V3. There's a project update. The design's complete. We opened the bids this evening. We're going to look at those in very short order with the staff and figure out what to do, who to select, make a recommendation to the board. The permits are all in order. Update on the GAF property donation. They wanted us to put some property markers in. We've installed them. As far as I know, they're satisfactory.
I talked with Tommy Richardson from GAF yesterday, and of course, first I told him they were going to be installed next week, and then I called him back and said, no, they're installed. And then he said they were going to go out and look at them, and I sent him the design specs too that you sent me on that, and we have a picture that was sent to us today. I should probably forward him that, but he said they were going to go out, him and Matt Hannon, who's the project plan manager for the site here in Michigan City. We're going to go out and look at those and see if they were acceptable. It's basically their attorney, and I think he's in New York City, that is the one that was wanting us to put them in concrete and everything, but these should just be just fine. So if we get that, they said that they would work up the agreement papers to donate us the property. So hopefully it'll keep moving.
Great. We have 3 pay requests. Do I read the amounts out, or do I?
Yeah, I can do it. We
Okay.
have the first pay request is invoice number 919221 for $210, and we've reviewed this, staff has reviewed this and signed off on the verification form, and I recommend approval.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
All right, is that wrong?
Build this invoice 210.
Yeah,
Okay.
Just a few categories in.
The next invoice from V3 is for invoice number 1019034 in the total amount of $34,606.02, and that's in your second column on this invoice. And staff has reviewed all this, and it's got all the detail that we requested.
Mike,
or
we
required.
didn't approve it,
Oh, I'm
that
sorry.
last one.
Oh, we didn't approve
If you could, all in favor?
Aye.
No opposed. I'm sorry.
It's okay. So then the second one is invoice number 1019034, the total amount of $34,606. Has been reviewed by staff, and we recommend approval.
so moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed.
And then, well, I must have 2 copies of the one for $210.
No, there's a second one. Maybe you do. Second one shows the 2K.
And then there's another one that invoice number 1019035, the total amount of $2,000. And staff has reviewed this, and we've signed off on the verification of receipt of services form, and we would recommend payment for that.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed.
Can we explain what Strago Pond is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Street.
Pond. Sorry, guys. This is a new one on the list for you guys to see. We're putting together a there's a lot of if you don't know what phragmites are, or common reed out there in the pond, it's kind of taken over. It's a type of tall, very aggressive plant that needs to be wiped out. It's non-native. So to improve the habitat out there, the district asked us to come up with a plan on how to get rid of it and how to maintain it and keep it from coming back. So we put that together. It's kind of a combination document. You can either use it internally and try to train your own staff how to do it, your park staff, or there's enough information in there that you can put it out for quote. So this is the first invoice on that project, I'm pretty sure. And we're done. Well, the draft is going to be...
We asked them to put together a plan for us to, a maintenance plan for Streetle Pond, because we've never had a maintenance plan. Well, I guess there was one a long time ago, but as Ted said, it needed to be significantly updated.
Yeah, there wasn't much to it, the original one.
So it's been something that we've been looking at over the last few years about the maintenance out there. Mostly it's just the growth of the plants and the vegetation that's taking over. As far as the operations of the pond is still functioning as designed and functioning properly. But this would be, we had a professional service contract with that, and there's a request, invoice number 919304 for $1,400. And we're requesting a repayment of that. Is that in here, Scott?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, here it is. Mine were out of order. So I asked the board, we've reviewed it, everything looks good. We got the verification of services form signed and asked the board to approve that.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed.
Thank you very much.
Very good.
Thank you.
All right, have a great one. John Doyle and Associates.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Hi, Mr. Doyle.
I have some pay requests from Woodruff and Sons. The first one is on the Alley Sanitary Sewer Extension north of Lafayette Street between York and Barker, or north of Barker on between Lafayette and York. And that is in the amount of $100,747.69. And I would recommend payment subject to the cleaning up of a fence that was sprayed with asphalt when they were doing the paving. So hopefully we'll get that done prior to next month's meeting.
We already had an update on this already.
Well, the project is done.
Yeah, it's all done.
There's the only problem is when the subcontractor came in to do the asphalt work, they sprayed a fence with like asphalt tar. But I don't know how we can approve this subject to that work.
Well, they cleaned up the bulk of it on a south fence. It's a north fence that has minor amounts of asphalt on it.
What does it take to usually clean up the entire amount? And what does it take? I mean,
I would think $1,500, couple $2,000 maybe, the most. A replacement of the fence.
Are they planning on doing that, as far as you know, within the next 2 weeks?
Mr. Byers? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. The one thing you could do, the board could, as previously mentioned by John, is approve payment condition on that being done, and the check's not written until, even though you approve payment, the check won't be written until it's demonstrated that it was cleaned up. John makes a report that it's been cleaned.
That was my intention.
Well, I move that we pay Woodruff final pay request invoice number 61442 in the amount of $100,747.69 with the stipulation that the fencing situation be rectified.
I'll second.
Wait a sec. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed.
Okay, thank you. Also have a pay request from Woodruff and Sons on the Arthur Street Storm Sewer Extension Project. That was a sewer extension west of Wabash. And this is in the amount of $69,537.88. And I would recommend payment and approval of the project as complete.
So moved.
Can we get a second? All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed.
Okay.
I don't think we'd ever see this Arthur Street.
Yeah, kind of exciting.
Well,
Trying to hold back.
and I think there was one other
The
item.
budget looked better.
US Highway
Right.
20?
Is it Highway 20?
Yes.
Oh, that's on our,
And Strebel
Oh,
ditch.
okay, the Strebel Arm Ditch. Sorry to say that we cannot get any response back from the Corps of Army Engineers. We've called the gentleman that's supposedly in charge of this area. We believe we've submitted all the proper documents to them and also to IDEM. We cannot get a response. I spoke with Randy Russell this morning about it. He was going to try to find someone in the Chicago district that perhaps in a more higher position than the gentleman we've been trying to get a hold of, and see if we can't get this moved along. But
When did we send that in? It's been like, 3 months, hasn't it?
yeah, close to that, yes. I don't know the exact date, but it's been quite a while. But he's never at his desk, and he never returns the calls.
Okay, we also have that other, the V3 gentleman who left. They have a person that used to work in that office, works for them now, and he reached out to them early on, if you remember, trying to ask them if they could somehow expedite this a little bit. So maybe I'll reach out to that person, Tom, his name's Tom. I'll reach out to him again and see if he can maybe give me another contact, and I'll follow up with Randy also, because this is, 3 months, this is just a simple job too. I mean, it's not like...
yeah, we can't do anything until it's,
It's not like you're filling in, you're wanting to fill in an entire wetland or nothing. You're just asking for like a little bit of work to be done along the creek, so.
Well, I guess there's also some problems with obtaining an easement from the former Josam property there. But Mr. Russell's been working on that, so we're at a standstill at this point.
Thank you, Mr. Doyle.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Haas and Associates, Village Road and West Wind Drive.
Good afternoon. Village Road and Westwind Drive, the South Gate Drainage Improvement Project update. NIPSCO gas the NIPSCO gas mains were relocated and completed on November 6th. This November 6th, and then Woodruff D&M construction started construction on November 7th, installing the 48-inch diameter storm pipe from Ohio Street and moving upstream to the west or to the east. D&M ran into a conflicting house lateral about 90 feet in to the project, and that halted work for a couple days. We have determined the best way to get around that house lateral, and basically another manhole is going to be added to the project, and then the pipe is going to be installed at a higher elevation for a distance to get over this house lateral that cannot be lowered any lower. Well, it's going to be lowered, but that's even in its lowest location, it still is too high to get over this pipe over. Let's see. Reith Riley, we've been informed by D&M that Reith Riley is closing their asphalt plant in less than a week and maybe as soon as this Saturday. So that will affect the progress of work and the ability to get the trenches paved before winter. That would not happen. So those are some of the things we talked about at a job status meeting this afternoon with the contractor and a couple representatives here from the district staff. And that's we asked for some information from D&M, and they are going to work on providing that so that we can share that information and make a decision about whether to proceed with the work or wait until the spring. Hopefully we'll have that information to you tomorrow. We'll get it to you as soon as we get it from D&M.
Yeah, we talked about it this afternoon, actually, right before we came in for the meeting. We were, four of us were talking about that same exact situation with respect to, is it going to be just better at this point just to wait till the spring, and because they're going to have to put cold patch down, which we understand might be another $14,000 or possibly he hasn't gotten a price back to you yet, but based on his initial feedback from what he said at the meeting, it might be another $14,000 or $13,000 for cold patch, and then if you put down stone, you're going to have to maintain that, and what's the cost for that? And at this point, it seems like it might just be better just to wait and just do it all in the spring. But let's see what the prices come back for the stone and for the cold patch, and then we can decide whether we want to keep going or whether we want to wait.
Sounds good.
Now, what's the problem with waiting as far as the project is concerned? It's a storm drainage project, right?
Yes.
And trying to alleviate some flooding, right?
Yes.
So
there's no real major problem with waiting. It's just that they've already started, and
yeah, I
trying to get the job
understand,
done.
and frankly, I agree that I'd rather wait as long as there's not problems with waiting, than dig up a part of the road, and then that's hard on the snowplows, it's hard on the residents, it's hard on everybody that's driving that road. So.
Yeah, and in the original project too, what came out of the meeting today was that they were going to put down an intermediate layer of binder, and then now that they wouldn't be able to do that, they might have to cold patch it. The cold patch might cost more because it's more intensive, but that intermediate layer of binder was going to be ripped out anyway when they go to repave the street. So if it's possible to wait, we might actually be able to save that money that was going to be for the intermediate layer of binder too, and then that way that might even work better. One of the reasons about waiting that might, go into the mix is apparently the union contracts expire sometime in March or April, and that might add some costs if they have to wait. We have to push it back till that time for the labor costs, so we need to look at that and evaluate all that and see what we want to do.
Okay. You have some invoices?
Yeah, we have two invoices from Haas & Associates for our work on this project. One is for bidding services, and that's for the amount of $2,806.70.
The district has reviewed this invoice, and I recommend approval in the amount to Haas in the amount of $2,806.70.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No opposed.
And then we have another invoice in, but I guess you might want to hold off on that because we don't have a signed agreement with the sanitary district to provide services during construction on the project. And that is, I'm not sure if you guys have that contract in front of you.
We don't have the contract.
No, we don't. We're not ready to enter into that. We've still got to look at that contract a little more, Tim.
Oh, okay.
For the total amount of the cost for the project and how much you needed for the inspection services. It was something that we had hoped to get done, obviously, before today's meeting, but it just didn't get done with.
Are you talking the second invoice here for $3,800?
Yes.
Is there any way you can split these up so that you don't commingle? I mean,
that's why
because I had no idea that this was per some new agreement.
They are on separate invoices.
Yeah, that's why.
They're separate invoices, but
12.
they request 12 and then 13 the way they do their numbering, their invoice numbering.
Well, that is why I split it off of the other invoice, because I thought maybe the contract would be approved today, but obviously that's not the case. So,
Because the way I read their invoice, that's pay request 12 and then pay request 13. Well, this is a new agreement. It should be pay request 1.
Oh, boy. Yeah, I don't think we should approve this invoice number
Okay.
13.
20, am I on the wrong one?
No.
2018-206-13. I don't think we should approve that right now. I think that's going to take further review by us before we move forward with that.
Okay. So you're gonna move to the surrogate neighborhood?
yes, sir. Let's see.
Long Beach?
So, was that everything?
Where it says award of the project, that was left down there from the last meeting. That was already awarded. That should have been taken off of the agenda.
Okay, Long Beach.
Okay, Long Beach, the preliminary engineering report for the sanitary sewer along Lake Shore Drive. We are waiting to get some of the financial analysis that Sender and Associates is working on, and when we get that, then we can wrap up the report. We have a goal of having the public hearing for that project in December, but that goal is, quickly diminishing, or the window for that goal is quickly diminishing. So if not December, maybe January for the public hearing, because before the public hearing we need to send down the pretty much final preliminary engineering report, except for the last chapter, which is the public hearing section, and send that down to IDEM SRF section for them to review before you can have the public hearing. So we've got to get the report further along and down to item for review. So,
how long does that review take?
It normally isn't a long review.
Let me say that shorter than it takes the Army Corps of Engineers to issue a permit.
Yeah.
Okay.
It won't take very long. Probably a couple weeks at the most.
Yeah. So that's what we're expecting, a couple weeks. 'Cause we've been keeping in contact, with them.
Okay.
So that's the status of that report, and we have that preliminary engineering report, and we have a pay estimate, pay application from Haas Associates for work on that project in the amount of $5,086.25.
I move that we approve this invoice to Haas. The district has reviewed it, and I recommend payment of $5,086.25.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, and then on the North End capacity study, the status is that we've collected field data and entered that data. Most of the data has been entered for 198 out of 212 manholes. So with the favorable weather look ahead that we've got here over the next week or so, we'll be able to wrap all those manholes up. And then I'd like to talk with you soon about coordinating a time to do the work on 4th Street. Hopefully we can get that done before the weather gets too bad.
Want to get together and have a little meeting about what you want to do first?
Yeah.
Want to do it tomorrow or Friday or what?
Friday, even Monday would be great.
Okay. We'll shoot for Friday. How's that?
All right.
Monday, we already got several meetings scheduled already for Monday, so Friday would be better.
Okay, sounds good. And we have, unless you have more questions about that project, we have an invoice from Haas Associates for our work on that project, invoice number 2, in the amount of $20,992.
I move that we pay Haas the invoice so mentioned for $20,992, and the sanitary district has reviewed this and approves of it.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed.
That concludes my report. Good work.
All right.
Thank you.
All righty. Mr. Cuss, you have the floor.
Okay, the first thing I have is some information about the dump trucks. for the refuse department. If you take one of those, please, and pass it around. This didn't make it into your board packet, but now what I'm passing around is the notice to bidders and the table of contents for the bid packet. I have the entire bid packet here, but I didn't really want to copy all this paperwork and everything. I could have, but this has been put together by the sanitary district staff, reviewed by myself and Mr. Meyer, and we believe it's ready to go out the door for the purchase of 3 new dump trucks for the refuse department. And don't forget, this is where we're getting the grant money from the state of Indiana for the Diesel Wise grant, and that will pay for a large percentage of the dump trucks. And then we would like to get your approval to put this notice out to bidders, with the bids being due at the next meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. No opposed.
Thank you. The next thing that I had on the list was this Broadway storm sewer engineering proposal. This is a proposal that Mr. Doyle gave to us, I don't know, a month or so ago, and it's been on the agenda, I think, for a couple months to talk about. Based on our budget, cash flow with the stormwater budget right now, I think it's going to be best for us to just wait and see how things look after the beginning of the first of the year, see what direction we want to go with some of these stormwater projects before we enter into that design work. Basically, the situation initiated itself with a drainage problem near the fire admin building on Broadway Street, which is behind the fire admin building, right by the water tower there. And we think we can, do some correction work there by installing a dry well with some maybe a little finger system to help with the drainage. And we've done some work in-house to get different quotes on what it would cost for a dry well. Ryan Byers, one of our new engineers, has been working good on that, along with Mr. Stanford, and they've got some good prices for doing that, and we're going to try to just do that dry well and finger drain system in-house, percolate into the ground, which again is, an example of the green infrastructure that, everyone across the nation is trying to employ. So we're going to do that to take care of the immediate problem. Mr. Doyle's proposal was to run a storm drain all the way down Broadway Street and eventually tie into the Cheney Run, which, somewhere down the line we may need to do that. We may even look at doing that next year, but I think with the current budget status and where we are right now, I think it'd be better to wait till next year and see if we can get some before we decide to move forward with that. We still have the proposal. Okay? Mm-hmm. All right, item 3 is the energy savings project, energy savings report. In November, this report is set up like this from the standpoint of starts with June and goes through May, and that's when we started the blowers. We got the new blowers and it started up operational for the most part in June of 18. So we're down to November now. It's in the red near the bottom on the first page. We had the savings of $4,217 over the savings, average savings of the previous 2 years before we put the blowers in of 16 and 17. And we're on pace to have an annual savings if you go to page 2. And if you look at the far right-hand columns, because that's based on your calculated rate with the current rate, that's a savings of annually of $60,445 a year with the energy savings project to date. Okay, and I do want to point out again, I don't know if we put it on here because there was additional sheets. I don't think I printed all this out for you, but the capacitors that we installed And I was telling you about how you have that rating of your demand rating, and you have to be above 95 at all times, and we were below that a lot, and we were paying that penalty, you know, on the electric bill, and we've installed it twice now. The first 2 months we were at 99.9%. This month we were actually at, or whatever, 99.9. This month we were actually at 100, the maximum you could get. So that seems to be working really well, and we have a nice safety factor built into that design, and that way we should never have to worry about falling below that 95% again. So that's helping out with the savings a lot also, on top of the energy project. So we did get the ESG annual savings report, guarantee report. We received that in August. We received it not in August. We received it, I believe, is in September, and we've been going back and forth with ESG about the report. We're not really satisfied completely with the report. We've been going back and forth with them, and we've sent them 2 letters so far, and we're doing some more further evaluation about that guarantee report, and continuing to work with Sulzer, manufacturer of the blowers and so forth, to make sure before we sign off on that report. There's also, tell you right now, we're probably going to end up having to have a meeting with them to try to talk about some of the findings in their report. We just don't really agree with them, so. Okay.
Good, glad you're staying on top of it.
Well, we've been staying on top of it. It's been a lot of detailed work and a lot of high-level, intricate engineering work and stuff that we're having to do over here to stay on top of that. But it's kind of exciting and fun to do, you know, because it's certainly not mundane work, but you know, it's also, everyone has an argument, you know. The next thing is the Bagley cleaners, contaminated groundwater plume. Again, the status update there is pretty much the same. That work is pretty much done. And I think that I reported at the Board of Works meeting that there's been an agreement that's been settled on that with the
A settlement
with the
with Bagley,
with their Bagley and
with their insurance company.
And so we should, the city, of course, you know, we did most of the work, and the redevelopment paid for the work on that. Testing and vapor intrusion testing and so forth, but we should be able to recoup all of our costs on that. You know, I'd just like to say again, I've said this many times, that I think it's a super great example for really any city in the United States of America, but certainly Indiana, to move forward with these types of things, to protect your citizens and reach out and use some of your funds that you have in the eye of public safety, because you know, again, if you don't know about it, you know, Google Franklin, Indiana, and you'll find out what happened down in Franklin, Indiana, when a lot of people knew about problems down there and similar situations and didn't do much about it. And there's a big uproar about it. In fact, on the IDEM website, if you go to their IDEM website, there's just a whole thing, Franklin, Indiana, right on there. It's really a big problem with groundwater contamination and some situations with health effects for children and different things like that. So I think it was a good idea and moving forward on that. So Ohio Street reconstruction project, there's no report from the city engineer or from the, not city engineer, from the engineers on that project.
Yeah, no report from me either.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, that's
on the oil spill, diesel spill / diesel release. As you guys know, we put together a full report on that situation and had the public meeting. And we also, soon after we found out about the situation, got a hold of Blue Shadley to be our attorney on that case, to represent us. And there is a bill in here from Blue Shadley for $495 for the work that they've done. And it's itemized in the 15-minute intervals as required by our contracts. And I would ask that the board pay this, approve payment of this $495.
So moved.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed.
Digester electrical gas project. I am so excited to report that we're finally getting some movement on the phase 2 project. As you know, we've had phase 1 done for a long time. Actually says August 15th of 2018, it says right here. So phase 2 is the district's portion of the work. We completed all that a while ago, again, probably back mid or beginning of the summer. We had 90% of that done. We had the issue with the contract with the bid specs that we put out from Marquis Electric, and we've worked through those, and Marquis Electric and Arctic Engineering, who submitted a second quote for doing some of the the mechanical work for the aeration, air ducts and so forth. They've been working together here, and the work has started, and quite frankly, maybe even by our December board meeting might even be complete. So it's moving right along and coming along good. There is a status report in here from DLZ. In here, I'll just read it quickly. It says item 1, met at the district on November 12th with Andy Skiot and Adam Weatherspoon, Kevin Van Sickle, and Steve Stanford about the location of the makeup air units, the concrete pad for that. 3 outside improvements will commence on Wednesday, November 20th, weather permitting, which is today. Exhaust fan and the makeup air unit are in the shop. Our Arctic Mechanical has those in hand now, and as soon as the concrete pad and the opening through the roof is cut, their installation of that will commence. And again, they started cutting the roof and pouring that concrete pad today, and the final completion is still expected. Here it says the end of December, so we might not quite make the next meeting, but it would sure be nice, because we've had that it's a safety concern that we've been working on for a couple of years to try to get that done.
Marquis has a...
Yes, it's not highlighted on here, but Marquis Electric has an invoice for $49,724 for the electrical work that they've already completed on that project, and it's been reviewed by staff, and I would recommend payment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed.
White ditch. We've got this, white ditch situation where we had one of the local manufacturing companies over on Friar Road contact us about dredging white ditch. We told them we would be glad to try to skim clean it out and dredge it out, but then we found out that we were going to be doing some work in the wetlands, so Weaver Consulting was conducting a wetland delineation report for us, and applications were sent to U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and to IDEM in October for receiving permits to do that work, and hopefully we'll get the Army Corps permit. I don't know, John Doyle looks like he left, but hopefully we'll get it. I don't want to say before we get the street arm ditch permit, because we need that one too, but hopefully we'll get it sooner. But it's one of the issues with these Army Corps permits. They seem to take quite a while. Sewer maintenance policy. You might remember we had this policy for... Let me back up a minute before I get into this, just to lay some groundwork, because haven't talked about this for a while. What's happened to us in the past is a homeowner will call us normally when there's a slow running sewer or a backup in their homes, they will call us, and we will go out and look at it. And if our sewer is backed up, then we take responsibility for that, report that to the state of Indiana as required, and move forward. But a lot of times our sewer is not a problem, but sometimes homeowners will have a problem with their own line, and they will call a sewer contractor, and the sewer contractor will come out and work on their lateral line. And what's happened to us, I can think of 2 times this has happened to us for sure, is they will push the debris and the roots and stuff that are clogged up in their own private line, they will push it into our sanitary sewer, and it will cause our sanitary sewer to back up, and will cause a problem then, for us and for maybe other residents in the area. The 2 times that I can think about this happening, one time the contractor called us after he did his work, and soon after, maybe within a half hour or so, and he said, you might want to go look at that sewer out there because we pushed a lot of stuff in the sewer, and and I was, what are you trying to say? And he didn't want to say too much. We went out there and looked, and sure enough, our sewer was full of stuff, and so I guess it worked out okay. He notified us. The second time that I know what happened, it was the opposite. We didn't find out about it until later, after it had already kind of backed up, and doing an investigation, that's what we found. So the point was to try to come up with a policy where sewer contractors could, two things. One, would register with the sanitary district free of charge with no fee, so that we know who's doing work in the city of Michigan City, and then also so that they would notify us when they do any work, so we can go check our sewer soon after that and see if there's any type of problem that might develop. So we put together a policy. It was rather lengthy and detailed, and maybe overly so, and we held a meeting with the sewer contractors to see if what they thought about it, to get their input, and there was some pushback and so forth. So we've taken this and we've streamlined this policy, and basically if you could just go down to item 3 talks about, item 1 and 2 talk about nobody can do the work unless, they're properly qualified and have proper permits, because sometimes people try to do work on our own sewers and you can't do that without a permit. To clean your private lateral, you don't need to have a permit, but to do a repair to it, then you need to have a permit from us to do that repair. But item 4 talks about registering with us. Item 3 talks about registering with us. Item 4 talks about notifying us of the service as soon as possible, but no later than the next business day, Monday through Friday. We're going to work on some forms and so forth. So what we thought we would do is, I wanted to get this, because it's been on the agenda for a couple of months, as you know, wanted to show you that we have revised the policy. And I think what we'll do is, we talked about it today, either have another meeting with the sewer contractors, or we may just take this and send this to the contractors list that we have already developed, the people that we invited to our meeting, and ask them for their input and see if they have any input about it. It's more streamlined, so they shouldn't have too big a problem with it, and then we'll come back to you after we get that done and ask you to finalize this policy.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Good work.
Sounds good.
Okay, the blue swag. The blue swag is the Stormwater Advisory Group, and like I said in my presentation the other day, that blue because it reminds us of clean water. We were going to go with green, but green doesn't really sound like clean water as much. Stormwater Advisory Group meets pretty much every month on the day before the board meeting, on the day of the board meetings, excuse me. We had our meeting this morning. It was well attended by sanitary district employees, some private citizens, and so forth. And we've gone through projects of where ponding and stormwater is backing up, and stormwater projects, and we've made some good progress on that as far as identifying the locations. Our GIS coordinator has put all those into a GIS map now, and some pictures and so forth of that. Also, we've talked about all the MS4 or MS stormwater associated with construction projects. As you guys know, in the state of Indiana, anytime you construct a project that's over 1 acre in size, you have to have a permit for that from the state of Indiana. It's actually an NPDS permit, but since we're a MS4 area, Michigan City is considered a municipal separate storm sewer area under what is Rule 13. We have to have our own program, and therefore we have to administer the Rule 5 permit also. So we usually talk about those projects also. And then also part of the Stormwater Advisory Group, or part of the Blue Swag contract that we have with Delta Institute is for them to go through all of our grants that we have and to identify progress on all of our grants and so forth. So they do a nice job of picking up that. First grant is the Cheney Run Wetland Project. We have a $500,000 grant, a $650,000 grant, a $90,000 grant, a $100,000 grant, a $30,000 grant to help us with the cost of that project. He's got all the stuff in there about that. We have the land acquisition grant, which was a grant of $36,923. That project was to look at the potential for purchasing land acquisition. If land were to come available for purchase, that could be used for green infrastructure or also for, public land for help with stormwater and so forth like that. And he's got the rest of the tables in here for everything that you guys could look at and all that. Okay? And
just a comment, Mike.
yes.
Are you done?
Yes, I'm
with
done.
that particular. Every time I read anything or hear anything about with regards to like our grants and the follow up on the grants, really makes me feel necessary to mention the gratitude to the hard work of the staff, yourself, specifically those responsible for the origination, the completion, the legal support, of course. And really the expert follow-up and follow-through. I want to bring this up because the amounts that have come into play over the years that I've been on this board has been staggering and impressive, and I think that you and the staff needs to be commended each and every time, because I realize that the hunger of obtaining these grants have gotten to such an amazing competitive level that us nailing down so many of them is impressive. So great job. It definitely allows us to participate in programs and projects that we might not, or probably would not otherwise have the financing to undertake. So well done.
Well, and thank you very much.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that, and the staff and myself, and of course Mr. Meyer, we all work very hard to try to keep the funding in line and try to do everything we can do to maximize our output here at the sanitary district financially. And don't forget, this isn't all the grants that we've got. We've got, if as you guys know, the lead committee, which I'm the chairman, the mayor appointed me to the lead committee. We received that $2.3 million from HUD, but I believe with that 2.3, and I think the sanitary district's right at around $2 million ourselves in grants total, if I'm remembering correctly. So, there's a lot of grant money there that we've put out, and the diesel-wise grants and the stuff that we've gotten for the CNG too. Those are huge. So I just wanted to point out that the contract that we have with Delta doesn't cover all the grants, but
right. One of the things that I also left out when giving the compliment was just the benefits to us, the ratepayers of this town. The money is money, and certainly it makes the world go round. But when, such as the lead, the steps that we are ahead of so many other communities around this nation. As you do watch the news, it's pretty impressive what we've undertaken so far, what you've undertaken and your staff. So well done.
Thank you very much. There is one pay request on here from Delta Institute for $5,360.68. That's invoice number INV 02659.
I move we pay that invoice.
Yeah, I'm sorry, and it's been reviewed and by staff, and I would ask that be approved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed.
Cheney Run has that's one of our Sustain Our Lakes grants. There's another invoice from Delta Institute, INV 02660 for $170, and I'd ask that be approved.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed.
The next thing on the agenda is this memorandum that I wrote about the Partners for Clean Air. It basically summarizes that we've been members of Partners for Clean Air for several years and gold level members, and I would ask the board again to allow us to be gold level members of the Partners for Clean Air program for 2020.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed, Mike. Good job, man. Good
Thank you.
job.
The next item was on the agenda is the contract for the general manager for just actually to update the contract. As you know, I'm already have a contract that goes through each year, and this contract is just really an update, which includes a few things such as increases to vacation and longevity that I've had since I've been here, and then also it just puts back the 3 months pay if I'm terminated without cause in 2020, and 2 months pay if terminated without cause in 2021, and 1 month pay if terminated without cause by 2022. And I know Mr. Myers reviewed this, and I would ask the board to approve this updated contract.
So moved.
Just a quick question. Do you have any, Mr. Meyer, any opinions on this that you've reviewed?
It's an opinion. It's legal. I mean,
Right, okay. Thank you.
I don't know what you mean by
Yeah.
opinion.
There's nothing wrong with it.
No, I mean, it's a business decision for the board to make.
Yes.
You're the contracting agency for the district, so you have to approve all contracts.
I see no problem with it. What do you want to do, you guys? You want to
Reviewing a couple
Review it
notes
all.
that I made. One moment. Just a quick question, Michael, on clarification that may be something I'm not familiar with. License certification bonuses for up to 4 license grades. What could you expand upon that?
We have on the salary ordinance that you approved earlier today, there's the extra pay for the certification licenses. On here,
Operator licenses.
certification, wastewater certification licenses, and I was trying to get to the page. It's on here. If you have a class 1, it's 35 cents an hour.
Okay.
Class 2 is 80 cents an hour. Class 3 is $1.40 an
recall
hour.
now.
And class 4 is $2 an hour.
Standard,
So
Bill.
that's where I
Thank
was
you.
getting that from.
District, yeah.
Do you guys think you need more time to go over it? Or that's
Well, I
don't
made the
see
motion.
any-
We're waiting for a second.
Yeah, I'm
waiting for a second.
reading it. I don't have any questions.
I read it before.
I did too, and made some comments. It says the board may approve additional pay increases for employee based upon employee performance. Do we have a performance review that we can base that upon, other than our basic memories?
We don't, I mean, you don't have one for me that you've been doing for me. What happened there, the reason that is in there is because, as with several employees, we have given them extra pay increases in lieu of or in addition to the salary ordinance. So that's all that's saying, is that if you would want to offer a pay increase ahead, like this year, we're going for the 1% for everybody, myself included, across the board. If you would want to give more than that, you have the ability to do that. That's what that's saying.
And I'll second that motion now. Thank you, Michael.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed.
Okay, the next thing is, on the agenda is something that's not written on there, is this beach proposal for testing the beaches. I guess you don't need 10 of them, I always make 10 because I like to have extras in case people want them. Each year we do monitoring for the beaches. It's called the Beach Act. It's a federal grant fund that Michigan City receives. Another grant, actually, I should probably put it on the list of grants. We receive grant funding for doing beach monitoring. Of what we do is we do 3 locations at Washington Park. We also test turbidity at Washington Park, 4 locations at Sheridan Beach. and actually it's 4 different beaches there, and there's 3 locations at Washington Park Beach, and then 1 turbidity at East Street Bridge. This is just a memorandum to let you know that I'm proposing to Shannon at the Parks Department is the actual person. The Parks Department actually gets the grant from IDEM to do this monitoring of Lake Michigan beaches. And we do the testing here at the sanitary district in our accredited laboratory, and we are giving her our proposal for 2020 for a total cost of $22,230 to do the testing work, actually the sampling and the testing. We normally hire a couple summer beach technicians, as we call them, and they go out and do the sampling and the testing. And she needs this so she could supply it to her, to supply it to IDEM for their grant. And I just wanted you to be aware that I had sent this to Shannon, and we will planning on continuing that again next year.
It's a good program.
Yeah, it is good.
Yeah.
It is, and for us, it's a situation. When I say us here in Michigan City's been monitoring the beaches for probably 20 years or 30 years for that matter, and it's something that we would probably be doing anyway. So why not get the money to help you do it since the money's out there. So,
and there's been some really great side benefits. We've gotten a few full-time employees out of it as well that have actually started with our beach.
More than a few.
Yes, yeah.
Actually,
the ones I know of.
Yeah,
Thank you.
there's a few.
It
depends what your definition
okay,
of a
several.
few is. Yeah, you can go several. So,
good.
Yes, we have, and it's a good way. And when you're younger and you're maybe still going to college and you're looking for something to do for the summer, and it's a good job, and you're learning about the environment, and then of course, like we've said before, our laboratory is the only accredited municipal laboratory in the state of Indiana, the only one that's accredited to the ISO standard. So when you're working with that kind of caliber of people and that kind of a lab, you're going to learn a lot, and then if you do a good job, you can stick around and be a good resource for the city. So, excellent. So that was all that I had there. The monthly reports that all the departments put together are attached, starting out with the IT monthly report, the operations manager's monthly report, which, I don't think we have to worry about idle time here. There's a lot of stuff going on there, but, and then,
I appreciate those reports because
we've got the 2 engineers' reports, what they've done, and actually 3 engineers, and then the superintendent of water reclamation's report. I might point out again that our CBOD removal for the month of October was 97.9% removal. Our total suspended solids removal was 99.0% removal. And our ammonia removal was 98.8% removal, so almost 100% removal of our ammonia. And phosphorus was 84.5%, 85% removal. 70% removal is the minimum that we have to achieve, so you can see we're over that. And the E. coli that we discharge out, we have a limit of 235, and our average for the month was 1.3.
so we can drink the effluent.
You probably could drink it. Really, honestly, if you really want to try it someday, I'll let you. Not now, because we're not chlorinating any longer. Okay, but I would definitely let you do it, but I don't know if it would be very smart. Okay. One thing about that 1.3 too is that we, with our new testing procedures, I believe that 1 is the lowest we can report. So,
I think that's right.
So, it's
MOD.
Yeah, it looks like 1.3, but it's probably closer to 0. So, and then of course we got the operations report, and we've got the collection system report. 799 work orders, and they videotaped 2.7 miles of sewers. There were no city plugs in October, which is always good. Okay. Maintenance report. They only had 131 work orders. Still a lot. They replaced the RES pump, worked on the cat dozer. Cleaned the digester covers of debris and hosed down the covers, serviced all the furnaces and stuff, getting ready for the winter. The lab report, Total tests for the month, 2,873 lab tests we do a month. You know, it's a lot. I mean, you know, of course, 540 of them are pH, but still a lot. It's a little harder than that, Jim. You gotta let it stabilize. Tony Basil's report and his map request report, which he also keeps one for me that runs throughout the year. But this is something that I find super valuable because, you know, let's not forget, this man does work for everybody, not just the city, not just the sanitary district.
So he was at the Blue Swag this afternoon, and they put together now a report that works real nice on the screen and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's done, you know, one of the things that, as you guys know, we were looking at doing that, we analyzed all of our buildings, and we were looking at, you know, trying to maybe redo our buildings a little bit. And one of the things we do suffer from is we've got these key people in different spots. And, you know, I don't care what anybody says, when you're right next to somebody, it's a lot easier to work with them, you know, and sometimes we forget about Tony because he's way over here with the IT department all the time. But whenever you ask him to do something, boy, he's right on it. He gets it done. So the tonnage report, if I can just keep going, is for October was a grand total of one. Oh, I see. So this is only for 1 month. We had 1,229 tons for October. And if you look at the total for the year, she's not putting the total on, so you kind of got to add the numbers up. But it looks like it's about the same as it was for September or so forth. I'll have to get her to put the total on there. One of the things is that for some reason, maybe we don't even need to do this anymore, but years and years ago, the refuse department would always report the loose tons and the compact tons. And I think that over time, we've been putting a lot more into the garbage trucks and compacting it than we've been getting into dump trucks and hauling it over there. Like, you know, if you've got a couch, yeah, you can throw it in the back of a dump truck. It's going to be called loose, but if you put it in the compactor and crush it up, then it's called compact. So maybe we just talk to Destiny, who helps me with that report, have her just do one column instead of several columns. So that's all I had for that. I appreciate everything and the compliments, and keep trying to do a good job.
Awesome. All right. Jim Myers.
Just a little update. I'm working with the in-house attorney for Franciscan Alliance to finalize all of the paperwork for that sewer project that they constructed for the new hospital, turning the sewers over to the city that they installed. Other than that, I don't have anything to add to what Michael talked about. I'll answer any questions if anybody has one.
Approve and allow the revenue and tax levy claims.
I move that we approve and allow the revenue and tax levy claims as per presented.
Before we do that one Haas and Associates claim was on there that was not approved.
Right,
So
I'll hold it.
So can we still approve can we still approve it?
Approved it, subject to the...
Can we still approve it, Mr. Meyer, and then just not pay the check until next time, or what should we do? Or should they approve it without that being on there?
It would be best if they approved it without that being on there.
Adjustment.
Yeah, avoid the one that's there and issue one check.
What's the amount?
3,000 something. That's
Yeah, avoid it.
3,000.
Because the check came out, both were paid on one check, so avoid the check and just...
$3,843.05, and it's Haas invoice number 2018206-13.
Okay, I move that we approve and allow revenue and tax levy claims for payment less the Haas invoice just mentioned.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No opposed. Is there any old business?
Yes, I spoke with Walsh and Kelly. We'll look at the fence tomorrow, get it taken care of for the York and Barker project.
Okay, awesome, awesome. All righty, any news business?
maybe just a new comment. I made some notes as I was reading the reports that you guys put in, and I just want to make sure that you know that we are reading them. Some of the things that you guys are getting done are really impressive. I don't want to sound like the rah-rah board member here, but
It's okay.
but it's I always enjoy reading these because it really gives me the greatest idea and detail that we can possibly get, okay, as to what's going on. And certainly when we wonder what direction a newer hire, as in Ryan, is here and what he's doing, pretty impressive report. Not saying anything because I marked on it, unbelievably, the same four of you that are here tonight. Mike, great job on our October. For those of us who were out the 31st of October trying to, take a family member through Halloween, through that mess and all that moisture that we were blessed with. I know it probably gave us unique challenges. So well done on that. These are just some notes I made when I was going through stuff today.
I have to give Mr. Gorska some credit. I took his format.
He's next. I was wondering if you did because good. That's my comment. That's all I have. Well done, guys. I mean, it really gives a neat idea, as well as I have a few questions for you guys too after the briefing. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to move to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next board meeting, regular meeting, December the 18th.